While researching potential ideas, Brian and Vlad began exploring the concept of video production.
We were excited about video, and so we had a compass towards creating products for video applications. And it was very early. It was late in flip cameras trajectory, early in GoPro's cameras trajectory, and we knew that there was energy in that space. And so as we started our own ethnographic, observation-based process, we kind of stumbled into a pretty obvious insight, but one nobody had really targeted, which is that people get self-conscious on camera. And if I hold up my flip camera at the time, or now my iPhone, pointed at you and say something smart, usually people go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to, don't feel natural in that situation. And so based on that insight, we started to go down a process of how do we create a product that addresses that and opens up new applications for video.
It wasn't long before they had the vision of what would become their first and most successful product.
Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Vlad.
And together we call ourselves Satarii.
We both love taking video, but hate being stuck in front of the webcam.
Or having friends do it for you. And since video is getting so good on our phones, we came up with a cool new mobile video accessory that we'd like to share with you.
The audio that you just heard comes from a 2010 video which shared the vision behind their idea, an innovative camera mount called the Satarii Star. It consisted of a small mount where you could insert your phone or iPad that communicated with the wireless receiver, known as the marker, that you could hold in your hand or clip to your shirt. Essentially, the star would track your movements, making it feel more comfortable and natural to be recorded than, say, if another person was standing there filming you. Brian had built working prototypes for the Satarii Star, but like most startups, he didn't have the capital necessary to mass produce it, and so he eventually turned to a relatively new concept for technology startups back in 2010, the idea of crowdfunding.
There's major kind of trends in venture investment, and at the time we were coming out of the recession and coming on the heels of about a 10-year period where very few, if any, hardware-based companies got any funding to build a business. So we'd seen enough precursors of projects that were kind of like home technology projects that we thought maybe we could give this crowdfunding thing a try.
Brian's crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo featured a video to introduce their new invention.
Hope you enjoyed the vision. We're two product designers that have been working for the last year out of this garage office to bring this idea to you.
The idea is relatively simple. Slip your video phone into our base, grab the marker. If the base can see the marker, it will follow it.
This commercial showed the Satarii Star in action. It followed a child swinging across monkey bars, recorded a woman playing tennis, and even tracked Brian as he ran across the street.
If you look at the campaign we did, it looks very rinky-dink and hokey in retrospect, because at the time that was what the standard was, and we were actually trying to kind of wrap ourselves in the homemaker community segment versus in the professionally produced campaign.
Hokey or not, the campaign was an effective way to introduce the Satarii Star. Their fundraising efforts on Indiegogo raised almost $25,000, exceeding their initial goal. It gave them the capital to produce a finished prototype, but reaching their financial goal also served as proof of concept, reassuring everyone, including the company founders, that there was a demand for this device.
For us, what allowed us to do was go to a set of angel investors and say, look, we have people willing to pay us to create this product. It's proof of some market traction. Will you invest in us? And eventually, through a process of meeting enough angel investors, we were able to use those two things in conjunction to raise enough to launch the first product.
Brian and Vlad would run another successful campaign through Kickstarter before partnering with those angel investors to commercially bring their idea to the public. Eventually, they would change the name of the company from Satarii to Swivl, and the device, known as the Satarii Star, became the Swivl robot. After the initial funding, Brian was able to unveil a new and improved Swivl in 2012.
We're here to introduce the new Swivl. You can use the new Swivl for telepresence both at home or at work. And with a big display on the iPad, it's a really compelling experience.
But while the new Swivl was improved and available commercially on their website, from a business perspective, things got off to a bit of a tough start. The initial thought was that the Swivl robot could have mass appeal for everyone. The average consumer could use it for a variety of activities, things like filming their golf swing or cooking or FaceTime chats with family or friends. But based on their initial sales, it was clear that overall, the Swivl robot just wasn't getting much traction. And so the company tried to find a reason why, and their research led to an important discovery.
We kept getting the steady raindrop of orders coming from schools that we actually hadn't really seen in our crowdfunding campaign, which should make sense because there's just not a lot of schools willing to go spend their annual budgets on a speculative crowdfunding campaign. And so as we were in this situation of needing to figure out how to market and sell effectively to essentially start to cover the basic costs of the inventory we had bought, whether we could pay our own rents and things like that, it was by necessity we had to go deep and dive into that.
So rather than staying general and trying to market the Swivl robot to everyone, they instead focused directly on the education market.
And so what we did was we started trying to understand why schools were even ordering it in the first place, because in retrospect, we really didn't have a good handle on that. Connecting with educators, my co-founder and I spent all of our time on customer support calls, trying to get to know people, get to know why they were using the product. And that really started about a 2 or 3 year process for us to really start to master the value propositions of the product within the educational use space.